The views and opinions expressed on Live at the Barbershop are entirely those of the host, guest, and caller and do not reflect the opinions of Live at the Barbershop or its staff. Viewers' discretion is advised. The following podcast is intended for mature audiences only and contains adult contents, graphic language, strong sexual content, and a whole lot of shit talking. So in other words, get your kids out the room.
Here we go at the Barbershop with your hosts, Misha J, Aaliyah, Black Republican, and those two crazy Caribbean guys from the Q&N show, Norris and Q. And now, the man of the hour, Mr. HNIC, Mr. Sleep When You're Dead, Hustle Now, the magnificent.
Yo, son. What's up with all that?
I was just trying to amp it up, you know, like...
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, I'm all right, I'm with that.
John, live at the Barbershop podcast.
Good night. Friday, fresh in the flesh and back again. Got my man AP in the building.
Yes.
We're gonna do things a little different today. Took a small hiatus. My man said we've been overworking him and he needed to vacate. So he took a nice little cruise around the world. And now he's back on the block. So what up, Black IT? What's the deal?
What's going on?
Back in the building with no gifts in your hand. I like that.
Wow.
You know,
No gifts in the hand?
no t-shirts, no bottle openers.
I think you need to go research
Oh, my bad.
that.
Hold up. All right, let me show this. My
Yeah,
bad.
man.
He came back.
With the most beautiful gift, man.
He came back dippy. Okay.
You see that?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Sound effects. Well,
yeah. Splash. Yeah. I like
Yeah.
that. Okay.
That's beautiful. Man.
Thank you very much for the gift.
Problem,
Okay.
no problem, you know? Many more.
Yeah, definitely. So tonight, the last discussion we had, we said we're gonna dive in a little deeper on MS. And this is mainly your journey, and we're just here along for the ride.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for the ride.
So tonight we decided to name it MS Unplugged, Real Talk and Insights. So that's because I'm not gonna lie, I heard the term, never really understood
Yeah.
the whole premise of it. I know it's like a neurological situation,
Yes. Yeah.
and you and I were having discussions the other day on the different cause and effects.
Right.
So we're gonna dive deeper into all of this tonight. We have a returning guest, family to the show, Yashika Bailey, family therapist. Not yet. Hold up. Let me introduce everyone. Then we can get into it.
The adult
Okay.
in the room.
So, all right. I'm your host for the night. My name is John. Sitting next to me is my man Q. What it do?
What's up? 205 in the building.
Sitting next to Q. You know how he do. This is AP in the building.
What's good, y'all?
Yeah.
Give thanks.
Smooth operator. You know what I'm saying?
The man with that heat sweat.
Yeah, you know.
Listen.
He's wet.
Barry White.
Yeah.
All right. And
How's
family
it looking,
therapist and family to the show, Yashika Bailey is in the building. What up? Good night. Oh,
The beautiful. The
Yes,
beautiful.
don't.
Beautiful. Miss Bailey.
yes. Thank you for joining us
Evening,
tonight.
guys. Evening.
All right. Our usual co-host Jazz couldn't make it tonight. A little thing came up for her, so she's here in spirit. So it's all love.
Yeah.
So, MS.
Yes.
Please break it down for all our listeners out here.
All right. MS is multiple sclerosis, and it is a neurological disorder that happens in the body. It is a rare disease that you can't give to someone else. You can't catch it. They still don't know how you get MS.
Right.
There's just certain things that factors that may come to play, whether it may be surroundings, people, places, and things, and added effect of certain things like stress,
Stress.
Wow.
for example. But just think of this. Many people that have, how many of you have iPhones?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how many of you have had problems with your plugs with iPhone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So just imagine your brain is the iPhone, and the cord that's going into the power source are your nerves, right? So what happens with MS is you see how the cord breaks apart a little bit sometimes, and it still works.
Right.
But there's certain times where it breaks apart
And it doesn't.
and it doesn't work.
Right.
So that happens throughout the body. So you may have lesions that get in the brain or anywhere you have nerves in your body. So what happens is one time you're able to move your hands and then you're not. Now I'm telling myself to move both my hands the same way as my right, right? But you see what my left hand is doing, right?
Yeah.
Even though I may be looking away. So it may be the same thing when you're walking, you may have certain things. So all depending on where your nerves are affected, whether it's your brain or your spinal cord, that affects how much MS affects your life. So, for example, I have 13 lesions in my brain and like 12 lesions in my spine. So, and they're active. So
and these are attacking your neurological.
So what that means is the little
neurons,
pockets in the cord that I was explaining, like the iPhone.
Right.
So they're still trying to go out and kill the whole
cord
nerve,
itself, right?
The whole cord itself, which is a nerve. So just think of this. So to split your body in half, one side is Crips and one side of Bloods.
Right.
In the middle are crooked police.
Wow, that's a crazy design.
All right. So one side is better than the other, but you know, at the end of the day, they both need each other to combat what's in the middle.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
But they don't do that. They end up fighting against each other, and breaking down their system, and you're just left with a spine going to brain. So you may find different things that happen, but you have a good situation. Just like the last show, I've been through most, not all, but from losing my eyesight. Like you remember, I never wore glasses ever in my life.
So
right.
This is the miracle man
But
we're talking right now.
without glasses,
See.
I can't see anything. Right. Even with the glasses right now, they're still like a little blur. But to my walking, I have vertigo 24/7. So I have a walker that I walk with, and before a walker, I was in a wheelchair. So walking without anything is problematic. You may have problems with incontinence. Those are problems that you have with bladders.
Okay.
Where you can't control your bladder. Some people have problems with ED, erectile dysfunction, or sexual dysfunction for women.
Right.
But there are crazy things throughout everything. I know you're gonna ask questions.
I got a lot.
But you have famous people, Richard Pryor, a well-known comedian, and you know there were stories years ago about him smoking, getting caught on fire, running through the streets and everything. All that was real.
Right.
But the thing that they didn't know that he had MS. So, for example, one thing that happens is you don't have feeling. So I could take my hand, like you guys here in the studio can see, I have little scuffs, little marks everywhere. That's from me not being able to feel anything. So I have no real sensation.
So the nerves that
So-
would normally tell you that it's hot, cold.
Things are happening, but
Yeah,
it's not.
No, I have no idea
It's
what's
happening.
going on. So just think of this: when your leg falls asleep,
Mhm.
when you're sitting down and your leg
Yeah.
falls asleep, that's my body 24/7.
Mm.
The feeling of that. So if you're just stepping on the floor, it feels like you're off balance because you feel the pins and needles and
Right.
stuff like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
But once again, I was in a situation where I could not talk, walk, move, do anything without an assistance of two people
Mm.
to do anything. And I have, quote unquote, what they said was a primary progressive multiple sclerosis, which there are 4 different types of multiple sclerosis. But I have supposedly the worst one, where you get it and you gradually just go down to deteriorate into nothing. And this was the explanation that the doctor gave me.
But God,
Hey.
miracle man.
Facts, but God and a praying, believing mother and a father,
Right.
and my father,
Absolutely.
a year and a half ago,
Exactly.
but he never even accepted my diagnosis.
Mm.
Never accepted it as to say, well, no, that's that. We're not thinking that's what it is. Whatever they said it is, we're just gonna deal with this and go forward.
Right.
Amen.
So
Let me ask you a
His
question.
face. That was his face.
yes,
Hey.
yes.
Let me ask you a question now. Was it something that you started seeing some small little red flags with stuff that your body was not used to, and something saying, "What's going on here?"
So crazy thing is, at the time I got married, I just started. I took a break from entertainment,
Right.
and became a teacher,
Okay.
a math teacher at supposedly one of the worst schools, as they said, in South Miami, which was Southridge, which is Southridge.
Mhm.
So I became a teacher, and I started teaching automatically. This is September 2007. So what started happening was, as I was walking into the building to go to my class, I would start losing balance and having to start touch the wall to walk. There were certain things I started forgetting. I would be starting to trip over myself. I was getting tired going to the mall, walking. And one day I'm in class teaching, and I'm talking in front of this new Promethean board, which is these new boards that you could touch and do everything on.
Digital board.
Yeah, we had the first one in 2007, and there was only 2 in the school. I'm thankful that I got that board. But as I was talking, my hand just started doing this. So I'm talking,
And it's doing its own
my
thing.
arm is just, now I'm looking this way, and my students are like, making comments and stuff like that. Then I start feeling tingling, stuff like that, and just had to try to figure out what was what. And at the time, didn't have insurance because before becoming a teacher, there was entertainment. Like unless you're working for a major label,
Right.
in the building, not having a distribution deal or partnership, those people don't have any of that, right? So it wasn't until I became a teacher then, when got MRI, and then a month after getting married, I got diagnosed.
After getting married.
Yeah, after starting my new job, well, starting my first job, probably. and yeah, that was a month, marriage and a new job. So you can look at both of those things are stressful events in life.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about leaving a mighty stressful situation of work, which was entertainment, where I was dealing with production, management, promotions and marketing,
babysitting, That's what it is.
and being an A&R all at the same time, and then leaving that with the pressure of that still weighing on me because it still had a company that my family members that were all involved are still running.
Right.
And then transitioning to what am I going to do?
Mhm.
You're about to get married, new situation, boom. Then it's find it, and you're going to be doing something that you've never done in your life ever, which is teaching kids.
I'm gonna tell you
I'm
something.
just laughing what he's saying
Yeah.
because you were doing so much thing,
Right.
promoting the music thing, everything,
Right. Right.
and then you just come to two things that you're gonna take care of: a wife.
You know.
Stress you out more than anything.
Hey, I didn't say that. Don't start, man.
Let me tell you something. I remember that transitioning day too, when the company and everything. I think I was stressed more than you. Because I was like, no.
Yo, a lot of people were. And
I remember
and-
that day
But
specifically.
he emphasized on being married.
Yeah.
That was the part that seems like
Yo, people
that's
don't
where the
understand
real stress
that is
came.
stressful though.
No,
It
but
is.
you gotta think you have to
Yeah.
prepare for a wedding,
Right.
Yeah.
right? So the preparation for a wedding is not just 6 months. It's
Right.
Yeah.
from when you're
Engagement.
engaged.
Right.
And we were engaged in 2005, end of 2005. So then I'm going through a year and a half of transitioning. You know,
Mhm.
that was Power Summit in Freeport, Bahamas. We had done, you know, so there were a lot of things that, you know, were mighty stressful, but they weren't in my mind as stressful because they just were things that we did.
Right.
We used to work from waking up 6, 7 in the morning,
Yes.
and
Four.
then
Four.
ending at about
4.
4 a.m. and then repeating the same thing all over again. And I didn't realize, I was doing that and
Every
going
day.
to college.
Yeah. Yep.
Man,
You
I
know.
can tell you about this marriage thing, man.
But hey, listen, I'll tell you, stress either kills
Or makes you
or-
better.
Stronger.
or gives you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Bailey, let me ask you something now in your field, because the reason why I find this very important, because there is no real factors. They don't have any real clue of why MS is triggered, or if it's hereditary, or you know what I'm saying.
There's ideas for why it's triggered.
Well, the stress portion of it,
Yeah.
partially, and there's
Environment.
still environment, different things like that. But the reason why I'm saying it's so important, because it can happen to anyone, and
Yeah.
people are not realizing that. All right, so I remember when we did that last episode, the last segment, and we said we were going to come back for this one. I was just walking through, generally just asking people about MS, and a lot of people, you know, who they all came back with Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Everyone said
wrong disease.
I know.
Wrong disease.
Parkinson's, right? He has
Parkinson, right?
Parkinson's.
But for some reason, it was him or Muhammad Ali,
Okay,
right?
don't lose your thought, because I'll lose my thought. I want to say
Go ahead.
the thing with MS also is that it's called multiple sclerosis because every disease that there is, you just name Parkinson's,
Right.
Okay, Parkinson's, cancer, every single one of them are what make multiple sclerosis. So yes, there are multiple pieces of different
Those symptoms.
different yes. So
Sections
if you look at, if you read off say a certain cancer or Parkinson's, for example, you read off Parkinson's and the things that are attributed to that, and then look at the ones for MS, you'll be like, wow. And then do that for another disease,
Similar.
and then you'll see there's certain of the how I forget this word.
Like the traits, or
Not traits, but
Symptoms? The symptoms?
symptoms. Yes. See? The adult in the room. There's certain symptoms that like MS has 380 something symptoms.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay. So it all depending, and there are no two MS the same. So my sister has MS, and we're not the same.
So now, in speaking
I
that,
was,
now,
yeah.
so now, in speaking that, now that you mentioned your sister,
Yeah.
My lovely sister.
so did she get it before or after?
So what happened was I ended up getting divorced, and when I got divorced, that was the decline of my MS was declining. So I was in the hospital, and then I went from hospital chair and able to do anything on my own. So I would in the chair the whole day. To sleep, I had to sit 90 degrees to sleep, because if I lay down, when I lay down, it feels like I am being waterboarded.
Okay.
That's from the vertigo. So laying down flat, that's like a no-go. So I'm at like 45, 90 degrees with pillows behind me right now, still having to do that. But I forgot my train of thought of what
sister.
So my sister ends up being my caregiver. She pulls up from her working on her doctorate at the time she was doing, about to get married herself, takes me out of the hospital and helps me get better. Oh, now you get better, but I start going and trying to do everything. So my
Physical
parents
therapy.
and other people before physical therapy, well, physical therapy was going on, but once again, I'm unable to do the most regular. So we're going to different places to do stem cell therapy. Finally found a good one, and traveling back and forth, Mexico, Haiti, Cuba, doing what could be done. My sister was the one that was there. When I had to go to physical therapy, it was my sister, the one that would have to help me eat. My sister and my mom at the time, but most of my sister, physical therapy, everything pushing me. And then I started steadily getting better, getting a little bit stable. Well, not a little bit, but stable, period. And then out of nowhere, my sister starts getting some strange symptoms. And we're like not really understanding what's going on. And then she tells us, oh, I did an MRI. I did a couple of MRIs, and it says that I have MS. Now, we were told from the beginning, MS is not hereditary. You can't give it to someone else. We can't tell you how, blah, 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 blah. But it happened. So what is craziest is exactly how I was is now how my sister is. Okay. And I am doing what I'm doing now, which never thought that could be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes me think sometimes, my sister prayed for me. Sometimes there are things that I believe are strong enough that sisters, mothers, brothers, family see other family in that situation and say, man, I wish I can do whatever I can do to get them out of that situation. I'd rather take that burden on. So there's a lot of times we have to be wary of, and understand what I'm saying, wary of how we speak, how we think, what we say, when we say, and how we say. Especially in how we believe.
Yeah.
Because understand, if you can pray something for something, you can pray to take away something. You understand what I'm saying? There's power, because my sister was the one that took care of me. Basically, you understand?
And what you're saying is like maybe she were there saying, why him? Why it wasn't be somebody else? Why it wasn't be be me.
Oh, I know.
As
She
you're
said
talking, that's
Mhm.
why you say talking in the tongue. You gotta
Yeah.
know what to say,
that.
and it actually happened to her. But the major point coming from this is family, bro.
Mhm.
Family.
Definitely.
When you got that family support, anything can happen. When you get that family
Absolutely.
support and that faith in family. Your
Yep.
sister had faith,
Yep.
your father had faith.
Yep.
So faith was the main reason you're here now, letting people know what's happening. It's all about the
Facts.
faith, man.
I
Fact.
think our strongest characters show up in adversities.
Yeah.
And so everything that you've gone through, your strength showed up, even with your sister. You know, she may have spoken some things, but the transformation would be it'll turn around for her, and then she'll be able to see what she has. Because assisting you was one thing, but being able to push through what she's going through will be something completely different. I did
Definitely.
have a question because
Yes, please. I need more questions from you tonight, please. All right.
you stated that before you said that, I was wondering because all the doctors and the professionals are saying, no, it's not hereditary. And I think I mentioned to you the last session that I have a client that actually has it, and she's 19 and she was born with it because her mother has it.
Mm.
I'll
And
say it like, oh, go ahead.
no, so it just makes me wonder, genetically, that gene passed down, maybe missing a generation, but still being within the family gene pool. I'm just wondering because you're saying your sister got it, and then her mom had it, and then she has it. Her brother doesn't have it, but she does. And she was the
Yeah,
firstborn. And so I'm just wondering. I was just
yeah,
wondering what your take
Okay.
is on
yeah.
that.
I had the same mindset because um like cancer, diabetes,
Mhm.
these things they normally say it's like generic.
Uh,
They try to one person has it or whatever, they try to say check yourself.
Check.
The younger generation, don't miss checking yourself.
Yeah, well, for the cancer, they
Yeah.
do have these tests where you can test to see if it's
Yeah.
hereditary and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know with my aunt, I have like two or three aunts that died of colon cancer. So her siblings had to go. Her siblings or her children had to get tested every year for the first like 5 years after she passed
Right.
because they felt like it was genetically somewhere within the gene pool. So it can be passed. That's why when you go to the doctor, they want to know um,
Yeah.
the
Any
litany
history?
of your
Yes.
history. They want to know mom, dad. They want to know if anyone closely related to you has this, or this, and if they do, if not, then the next generation. So I think genetically there is some type of commonality there that they may not be able to put their finger on it, but it
True.
has to be for you and your sister to be identical in that manner and and have the same disease.
Yeah.
I'll
Very
tell you this.
unfortunate. And
And she's
then
older than you.
with my
Yeah.
client, same thing. Her and her mom has the same exact thing. And I've heard her, I've seen her fingers, so her fingers may be a little um
Sausagey.
I don't I because I do telehealth, so I haven't seen it in person, but I've
Right.
seen it on the screen just like with you also. But I've seen some I don't want to say anything to be offensive, but I've seen
Sausage fingers.
what is it called?
Sausage fingers, like sausage, like kind of swollen.
Probably.
Yes.
Or maybe a little bent or something.
Yeah.
Um, and
That's
then I know.
because
No, go ahead.
there's really no control, right? And I can't even. You'd have to go on my social media or something to be able to look at 5 or 6 years ago, and then you'll be like, what?
Yeah,
Like
that's a true
e- e- e-
testament. That's a true
even me
testimony. I would
sitting
love to see
up,
that.
like this without any things, but
Supporting.
to answer, because you had a great question, right? Now, I had a Dr. William Sharamata. He was a world-renowned neurologist. He specialized in MS for 54 years. He fostered in 9 to 13 medicines for MS and everything. I remember one time we were asking him questions, and he said, well, Arthur and Joanne, I want you guys to understand something. All the other doctors will say what they want to say about what MS and this and that. And blah, blah. He said, I've been studying for 50 plus years, and I can't tell you how you get MS. I can't tell you who gives it to you, what really happens or anything like that. So for me to sit there and say to you that there's no way that someone that's has the same blood as you, same genes as you, and everything is you, no, at all. And then I said to him, I said, so basically what you're saying is you're practicing on us. And he goes, exactly. He said, have you never really listened to what the doctors call their business? I said,
Practice.
they call it a practice. He goes, wow, you're very smart. I know you're very smart. And he said, he going even further. He said, and what do the lawyers call their offices? They call it a practice.
Or firm.
Right?
Yeah.
So there are many things from that day, the communication got even better because that's when my sister, myself, my family, we started practicing on myself from understanding it from that point.
Right.
So I'm Caribbean, right? There's this craze that everyone has now for that oil, castor oil, black Caribbean lives, all our lives, right? All our lives. So there was a time when I was in rehab hospital. They were just leaving me in the bed because they said I couldn't really move. I couldn't really go to physical therapy. They would come to my bed and do therapy, lift up my legs and stuff like that. But my family would come in and they'd be putting the castor oil on me, massaging my body, and nurses come in. The head nurse, what's going on here? So there were different things that we started practicing on. So the drinks were different. We had moringa in our stuff. We had, the natural essence of certain things. So I wasn't taking. Listen, when I first got diagnosed, I ended up having like 4 opiates that they gave me straight off the bat. Percocet. It was Percocet, Oxycontin.
Whoa.
Oxycodone.
That's Percocet, right? Oxycodone.
Oh, could be.
Yeah. Vicodin, another one. Then I was on 2 muscle relaxers, baclofen and tizanidine, and they had me on this thing which was supposed to be for nerve pain, which happened to be something for that could deal with depression and some other stuff like that they didn't even tell me about. Now it's being used for something totally different.
Yeah.
Right. But I was taking all that before I even started teaching class. Tasted by a colada. Those of you that live in South Florida know the Cuban coffee that you get in the big cup, right? But the problem is I never took the little cups. So I just thought I wasn't a coffee drinker. So I just thought you just had to drink the whole colada. Yeah. So I used to drink that with my first set of pills, and then for lunch would be the second set of pills, and then the third set when I get home.
All that.
Right. And this was what was prescribed to me as a doctor. This was not my William Sherman. This was my first neurologist. My first neurologist was he said this, and when I saw the movie about the Oxycontin thing, I'm watching what the doctor said. The first thing he said is, and this was the first time I saw him without my wife at the time, my ex-wife. She used to come to all the appointments with me, my physical therapy and all that stuff. She wanted to make sure, right? The one that she doesn't come, he goes, I'm gonna give you something to take the edge off. And that's when he gave me the Oxycontin.
Wow.
Right. And I went from 20s to 40s in a month, because the pain that you deal with MS is that unbearable kind of intrinsic that goes through your body, and yeah, it would work for a certain amount of time, but then
Band-Aid.
Not even a Band-Aid, because with MS you feel this pain, constant pain. Right.
Well, meaning that the drugs that they're using,
excess drugs,
is just a temporary
fix
situation.
Yeah,
I get
I had the good insurance,
cortisone shots and stuff, and it's like it does nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't even want it right now. Like my list of medicated drugs look like I'm a listen. They prescribed me what's that stuff that they drink for lean?
Scissor the same lean.
The real name.
Oh, the cough syrup.
Yes. Now that was because I would cough a lot hard and everything like that. So I was taking that. Huh?
Is that Robitussin?
Well, it's the professional.
Well, it's the
active,
prescription.
active,
yeah.
active.
Doctor got to give you
But they don't know. So the answer to what you were saying is, they don't know. Therefore, they can't really tell me certain things. So me listening to that, it's not hereditary, and I say that because clinically that's what it is. But I also understand that has something to do with money, some way, somehow.
All that drugging, they were drugging you.
I've been on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the MS drugs that are out now. I was on them before they came out.
So it's an experiment, basically.
Yeah. So the last one, the one that I'm on now, William Shermata found this drug, and this is crazy. It got approved worldwide. He died the following morning.
Whoa.
But 5 days before that, I saw him, and he had told me, okay, you weren't on the placebo, you were on this new drug that I was trying out. Right. And I just found out. So they attributed that when they asked right now, well, how are you getting these gains and everything like that? They can't really attribute it only to the drugs, and especially drugs as well. It may have something to do with my regimen as well as the stem cells.
So I want to ask you, Christian. You said there's a difference between your symptoms and your sister.
Yes.
What kind of difference does you see in her situation and the one that you went through?
That she's going through now, the same things?
Yeah.
Okay.
What the difference you see that was happening to you that is happening to her now?
She's immobile, and unable to do much on her own, much like me. So I have a weaker hand and I have a stronger hand, right? So her weaker hand is not really as functionable as well. You'll go through the other verities, but the mobility being the biggest. And I'll tell you this, throughout everything that she's going through, she's still working, right?
Hurting you?
No.
Meaning
she's
strength.
Married. Yeah, strength. She'll always support me.
Yeah.
But she's still working, and she is someone that works in the public sector. So she still goes out and visits homes for kids and stuff like that in the foster care system and stuff like that. So I still get impressed and motivated and inspired by my older sister going through what she's doing, because she's doing it better than I would have and did handle it, because it took me a while to be this cordial. Nah,
That surprises you, AP?
I mean, it's the truth, right? It's I was at a nursing home / rehab hospital, recreational rehabilitation. They bring everybody in, okay? And since I happened to be there over 6 months, everybody that was with me that were there for rehab only, they all graduated. So I was still there. So now I'm with the people that are living in the old folks, the old folks home,
Right.
which is right next to it, Villa Maria in Miami. This older white Jewish lady, right on Sabbath, we're sitting there having a conversation in a circle, and she says, "You have a really nasty attitude." Right?
That was for you.
That was she was talking to me. She's like, "You have a really nasty attitude, but you know what? I come any which way because I like to hear you speak. But once you change your attitude, things will be much better for you, because you're such a nice person, I think." All right, saying all this, and I'm looking at her. Right, I'm in my wheelchair. I'm unable to wheel myself back to my room to get out of there at all.
So the attitude was coming from that.
The attitude with what my situation.
What he was saying, yeah.
Anyone would
going through divorce.
Yeah.
You were bitter.
You know, there was I was upset, but upset at the wrong people.
Yeah.
And the wrong things, right? Because at the end of the day, everything comes back to me.
Yeah.
Right. And many times when we're in situations, we feel that we have to blame someone else for whatever it may be in the situation, because we don't want to face the fact that you're in the situation because you put yourself in that situation. Right. It's either people, places, or things that affect you in life.
Yeah.
One big thing I want everyone to understand is that everyone has the MS gene in their body. I believe this is what I believe. But there are certain things that will trigger it. Exactly the same thing as chickenpox. Everybody has a chickenpox gene in them.
Right.
Has everyone in here had the chickenpox?
Yeah, I've had it.
I've never had it.
Yeah, I had it.
Right? But it's still
there,
in me. Everybody has the herpes, whatever it is.
Trait.
No, wait, whoa. But the trait.
Q doing the Diddy Bop. Q doing the Diddy Bop.
Okay, let's say
You call that the Meek Mills.
Oh man,
I've always heard about like the
you mean
cancer.
by that?
I've always heard about like cancer.
Yeah.
There's a cell there in all of us.
Yes.
And it will trigger
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
And you know what the biggest trigger of that is? Stress. Stress. Stress
it's a
is the
carcinogen.
biggest. The biggest trigger for all diseases is stress. The second one would be candida, which is leaky gut syndrome. So men, especially Caribbean men that love to walk around with that nice Caribbean pot belly, like
Oh my god.
a lot of disease starts from there. So please understand. Get yourself right.
Let me help you out, Q.
Whoa. Why y'all hitting on my
Can I ask you a
Q?
question, AP? Can
Oh,
I have
man.
a question?
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
When the lady stated what she stated in the meeting with you,
Uh-huh.
did you were you self-reflective and do self-inventory? Did you change at that point? Did you start to change? And did
Automatically
things start to
because
change for you?
automatically because I didn't know her. So she wasn't my family member. She wasn't somebody that had to be nice to me, someone that had to lie to me about anything. She was truthful and it came from an independent place, right? So I had to take it because there was nothing else for me to do. Also because all the people that I had bonded with all graduated.
They left.
So once I left the little circle, I went back to the rehab part where I was alone, right? And truthfully, who ended up being my friends, who I would leave the rehab side to go over to sit when they would go sit in the sun and everything. I would
be with the
go
little
with,
Jewish
with
lady.
the, with the old Jewish lady and their friends and stuff like that. Yeah.
You had no choice.
This is not laughing, my boy. It makes it so funny.
I just
At the end
wanted
of
to
the day,
know
understand,
because
I had to do this because it's either you're going to sulk in your
So,
situation, right, or you're going to have to find a different way. So I don't want it to seem like for me it's always been this. I could. No. It's a process to get here, and there's still a process to get better than where I am right now.
But
right?
I think
But
anyone, anyone would mentally be on the same page
with what?
With the change of attitude.
yeah,
No.
because
Meaning that all right. For instance, now, if this happened to you tomorrow, right, and you had to go into that rehabilitation center and everything that he went through, everything that I don't think off rip anyone would be peaches and creams and just doing, every day is just like, hey, you would have some down moments.
Yeah.
And when someone come around and you just say, yo, just leave me alone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think everyone would have a small piece of that somewhere in between until something clicks.
Yeah.
Or until God sends someone
True.
to send the message to you.
True.
I'll even give it to you even more, right? So when she says that to me, I'm still in the wheelchair, unable to do everything for myself and everything. So now when I'm in my bed, right, where I can't do anything other than look at the NCIS marathon that's going on, right? That's because that's always on. I remember
the Jewish lady got the remote.
Clearly saying, God, get me out of the situation where I can breathe on my own, sit up on my own, and I won't ever have a problem really at all.
We're listening to you now, but
right? No, listen, right? So every day I wake up now, and from then, and I am breathing on my own and being able to sit upright, I'm having a good day, period.
Yeah.
Because it's easy for me to remember where I was and how I was and what I couldn't do. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So every single time I remember that I could wake up tomorrow morning and unable to get up and move, which happens frequently. I can't do anything. So whatever you had planned for that day, you just change it all up. But once again, I'm breathing on my own, no tubes, nothing in my so I'm thankful.
Yeah,
no matter what.
Yeah, I know this is a graceful topic, but let me ask you, when the Jewish lady say that, how many names in your head you had for her?
I had a couple.
But it's worked out in a good way for you.
Yeah, it did.
It resonated for you.
It did. And I understand. No matter what your situation may be and you may not understand it, people come into your life to either suck the life out of you or help you get better. There's no neutral ground where people say, oh, no, they're just there. No. It's either they're taking or they're giving. Period.
They're for a reason and a season.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. What people said in your life sometimes can be very serious. And this is also the thing where if you put it to the test, and take the points and make something out of it. Because I heard a story one time about saving, and the next day I didn't even want to eat. It was hard to buy something because I want to start that saving plan that the person mentioned. You don't even want to set pen. But he goes on what she says, and look what it turns out to be for him.
See,
you know?
Now let me.
I'm sorry. You say you didn't want to eat?
That's what I'm saying. When you hear the saving plan, a person reached to this point, you don't want to spend. You say, man, I want to save that. That is just the point I'm trying to make.
She couldn't let it in. She couldn't keep it in. I saw her trying. She was trying. She put her hands right above her mouth. But it just came out.
No, somebody ever explain where the
I know what
situation
you're
they
saying.
reach?
Yeah.
And you say, to yourself at that moment, you say, I want to reach that point.
Yeah.
I want to
But
reach
it takes,
that place.
hey,
It takes courage,
discipline.
That's
what it is.
And he accept what she says.
Right.
He could have walked away and
No,
called her all the names.
I couldn't have walked away. Definitely, I was in the wheelchair. I couldn't have walked away at all.
Rolled over her feet.
I couldn't even wheel myself away. I had to call somebody to wheel me out. So
what an exit,
you
right?
upset, and you can't even get up and walk out. I couldn't get. Think about that.
Not literally walk out.
I couldn't roll out. What are you talking about?
I was gonna say something. AP, you couldn't get your roll on.
I couldn't get my roll on. I couldn't get my.
You couldn't even exit the way you wanted to.
I couldn't even exit correctly.
No U-turns.
Sit there and just look at her like, oh my goodness.
Your attitude
could have made a U-turn right over her feet.
Yeah.
So he could not even use his attitude at that moment. No attitude.
But here's the thing now. All right, so here's a couple of things, key points that I heard in between all the discussions that I want people to get a full understanding of. One,
family. Sorry.
No, not even the family portion.
I'm sorry.
Just on the nutritional portion of things, and us being from the West Indies, and losing our cultural heritage with a lot of the stuff that God gave us that grows in the ground.
Our eating habits.
All right. So eating habits outside of all these chemicals and all these processed food and different things of that nature, right? Like for instance, now we have a thing called pranganat, which for them it's pomegranate, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You said what you call it?
Pranganat.
Pranganat.
That's what they call it.
Me never hear that.
What? You never heard pranganat?
That reminds me of the pear. The pear.
Pear.
The
pear. It's an avocado. It's not a pear. It's not a pear. Listen, there's a pear already. So you just take the pear's name and put it upon the avocado. What?
Now all of a sudden that's the craze now. But the thing with it now, it's marketable.
Really expensive too, man.
Right. It's marketable now.
Yeah.
So they told you now, they brought you away from what your normal habits, your normal good eating habits were, right?
Right.
Brought you into the processed food situation now. Fast things. Get it to you on the go. You gotta get to work. You gotta go home. Gotta pick up the kids. Gotta do on and on. Here's the fast things between, right?
That's the
and
worst
then
thing.
And right. And then now want to resell you all the stuff we told you, we gradually took you off of.
Right.
You understand? Because if you do majority of the research, I don't, Dr. Sebi, there's so many people that tell you all the. What are you still laughing at? Pranganat?
What is it, Dr. Zodi or something?
No, Dr. Sebi.
Okay, Sebi.
Yeah. So the man gonna cut me off.
The doctor that I did my stem cells with,
right?
He was the person that taught Dr. Sebi his whole naturalistic regimen and everything.
And that's the
you
thing.
said he died. Did he die mysteriously?
Seriously.
Yeah, so did my
no, I know Dr. Sibi did, but I mean the doctor that you were talking to.
Yes, he was beheaded.
Whoa.
They cut his head off 2 weeks after I was did my last stem cell treatment. You could read it on Facebook.
Whoa.
His name is Hugues U like Hugh Hefner
Right.
Bellevue.
Where's he from?
He's from Haiti.
And where did he died in Haiti also?
No, he
Where?
was. He has his clinic was in Mexico, and the clinic's still there. He was one of the real clinics that were actually doing the real stem cell treatments and all that stuff, right? So he was having problems because he was visibly on the news, talking, everything, stuff like that. And Tijuana has a large area of gang cartels and stuff like that. And they have a lot of the stem cell treatment or replacement treatment therapy places. And this is what they'll do. You pay $30,000 to go for a week. They said they're gonna do some stem cell treatment with you, right? And what they do is they fill you up with vitamin D, vitamin E, and B12 every day. Every day. So you start feeling great. Seventh day, great. You leave there, go home, 9 to 10 days, probably 14. Things start dropping if you get back into your craziness regimen that you're already in, right? So what happens? You feel like you have to go back.
Returning.
And you are returning and going through a whole process, and that's how they do their stuff. And you may see those places now, even out here in South Florida, where now they have these IV parties,
I heard
or
about
these
that,
places where you can now go and it's IV club, and you get your B12 IVs and supplements all up. Like,
shut up.
Actually, know someone that did it in California.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
But see, the reason why I'm bringing that up again now is because, again, Ms. Bailey, in your practice, and because it's not a known thing to do in the Black community to go seek therapy to kind of combat the stress level that could trigger these different things, the cancer, MS, Parkinson, on and on and on.
Right.
Do you think it's I don't want to say it's something that they mapped out, but somewhere along the line, for some reason, our counterparts, when something goes wrong, they go and seek that help.
Right.
Whether it's medical, whether it's mental, but for us, we take
because it was a trust issue. If you go way back, you have the Tuskegee Airmen, you have so many different things that we were tested as dummies. You had our Black women being tested when it came to maternal and paternal things. So we don't have the trust. We don't have the trust.
Definitely.
So you go way back, and we don't trust most of the doctors that you speak of are Caucasians.
Right.
So we don't trust them. So more of us if more of us look like the professionals that we need, then maybe we can start to bridge that trust. But that's the biggest issue. We don't trust. And when it comes to therapy, not only do you not trust, the therapist that's on the other side don't look like me, therefore can't relate to some of the things that I've been through.
Yeah, that's
another.
Exactly what you're saying, because they tell me I have a white woman's disease, because close to 70, 80% of people that have MS are white women. But I think the bigger thing is that not that many African American, Caribbean people get MRIs, period.
Yeah.
And the the last factor to get diagnosed with MS is MRI.
Mhm.
So, for my example, we were later to be able to find out that when I had a stroke, 96, in 96, I had a stroke, and that left me partially paralyzed for 9 months, right? They found out that that was the early signs
I
of
was going to say that was the onset. That was
the
11
onset
years
of
prior.
MS, right?
Yeah, 11 years
Now,
prior.
when that happened to me, I just took a break a little bit from my tedious schedule
And
and
went
then
back to
jumped
it.
right back to it,
Yeah.
and then really burnt myself out to the point that it was like, oh, okay, here you go, hold that for a minute, until there's ability to, every 3 to 6 months, we have been able to regenerate all the cells in our bodies, right? But the thing that stops all that regeneration to happen is the things that we ingest
Mhm.
in our mouths, through our eyes, ears, right? They're
A lot of
all affected,
environmental things.
especially environmental things as well. Like if I eat any gum or any diet soda, any diet anything right now, I will have a episode because of one ingredient, and that's something called aspartame.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I know.
Aspartame is probably one of the worst products ever made. But since it's such a great preservative and it makes certain things taste good,
It's a preservative.
right? They say it's a something for taste, but it's a preservative as well, right? That is like kids that have ADHD, hyper. So it makes your nerves do that, right? And it may promote, or you may see it as something different, but that's what's making you react, act the way that you are many times. And it could be the foods that you eat, right? That have the certain things. So be mindful of what you eat, especially just look at the label. Look at the label and understand, right? Like this craze, you were talking about food, right? Right now in the Caribbean, let's just say the black markets, right? Oxtail is out the roof, right? In certain places, it's $13 a pound, and people are killing themselves. Like, but understand, right? We're taking the things that were left as scraps to us
Always.
that they find right now. So, oh, they want it, pipe it up, right? Now, if you go to a fast food spot, do you know that you're paying a minimum 7 something for any meal, whether it's a kid's meal, and right? There are no dollar menus at any of these fast food stops at all, right? So there's no really excuse to say, hey, I can't afford to eat anything healthy, because you can go over to any grocery store, right? Get a pack of frozen vegetables, get some sort of protein, and you can make your meal up, and it will be less than
what you paying
that meal.
That
so or the same thing that you'll pay for a large whatever meal in a fast food spot, you can go to one of these Applebee's or something else because the prices are comparable. You can get a meal right now at Applebee's or TGI Friday, $8.99, $9.99 with the drink included and everything like that.
Don't bring a
so,
date. Them girls, that Applebee's on that don't go list from the females. So
the other thing
Maybe ordering salmon.
When it comes to your food, brothers, sisters, understand that everything that says organic on it is not organic. Okay? It's got to have organic, and you see that USDA organic little green thing on there that has a little blue swirl on it. If not, that's just
I'm gonna tell you something too. I don't even trust that
marketing
with the USDA either.
It's the best.
But yeah, that's the best thing we can deal with. But I don't trust it. I don't really. Yo, nowadays, to be honest with you, unfortunately, I mean, we can't. We don't. A lot of us don't have the land like we do back home and different things like that. But the only thing you can trust is the stuff that you have in your own yard. You know what I mean? And at this point,
trust the story.
you still can't do that because the soil
It's
itself
messed up.
is so contaminated with things.
Listen, you can still trust certain places like those Presidente type of supermarkets.
Mhm.
No matter what you want to say about them, you know that most of those things are
Yeah.
real
Grown.
fruits and vegetables. It's just knowing where to go to get your fruits and vegetables, your as we call them in French, vive, which y'all call
Pranganut.
no, no, like yam.
Okay.
Yeah, we call it yam. What we
Yeah.
Yeah.
Call it yum.
nice piece of yam.
Yo, one thing I must
I'm
say
done
though,
with y'all, man. I'm done.
Presidente in those stores, you know it's real because they got that smell. All of them got that smell. Am I right?
No,
Earl?
they
all
all
got that
don't.
smell?
If you go to the Florida one on University and Pines,
Yeah, that
Broward,
Broward,
Yeah, you say Pines. You know that's not.
Broward, yeah, Broward.
that's
Pines.
University. And
I know, but
West.
Pines is bougie. You know
what
what
are
I'm
you,
saying? You
What
gotta
I
go
what are
there.
you
West.
talking about, man?
What's that like? That's like Plantation and Davy.
Yeah, you know
Stop
what
it,
I mean?
stop it,
Like,
stop it. That was the name of the street,
No,
right? That's okay. You want to say Hollywood?
Yeah.
So Hollywood and University.
yeah, but I'm just saying that the ones where you walk in and smell like Mets food from back in the days up in New
Hey,
York
my
and stuff,
friend.
they all got that smell where you just
you know
like
what that smell is? That's blood that's sitting at the bottom of the freezer that they haven't cleaned, right?
in the,
That
the,
just sits
the
there
butcher
and stays
area.
in the butcher
yeah.
area, right?
But that's
And
what
it
I'm saying.
permeates everywhere. That stuff travels, bro.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That the smell. I know when I was younger, we used to go to the butcher store,
appreciate
so
it.
we understand that.
The fresh.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's not the
Fresh
same
kill.
like when you go to like a Publix or
Yeah.
Walmart or different
Yeah,
places
yeah,
like that. So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying
You
is
smell
you
the
know
fresh
that
kill.
these are coming in straight out the field and different things like that of that
Yeah.
nature. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
But a very important point. He went back to food. Food.
Yeah.
So what you're actually saying, most of these things that happen to us, food has a lot
we know that.
to do with it.
Yes. Yes.
We know
sir.
that.
Yes. Definitely.
I mean, you've seen it in the generations, like our generation to the next generation. The only tall people we knew was like what was the dude, the wrestler, Andre the Giant? You know what I'm saying? The people
Right.
abnormal situations, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's and the. Now you got kids. I remember when my son was like in 6th grade, the girl was probably like 7 foot something. You know what I'm saying? Like that's you look at the stuff and you're like, because I remember I said to my son, we're walking in the hallway. I said, "Yo, that's one of the mothers." He's like, "No, she's in such and such class." I'm like, "Yo, she go to this school?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What?"
Yes.
Because
it's called meat with steroids,
Steroids,
and
the
everything
milk,
inside there,
all
the
different
milk.
things
I
like that.
I recall one of the sergeants was teaching a class at my job, and he had a McDonald's cheeseburger, and he brought it up. The cheeseburger looked just like he had just bought it.
Mhm.
It didn't have a smell.
Huh.
It had the same color, the bread, the cheese, everything. He had it
Yep.
wrapped in the McDonald's paper, and he put it on the desk, and he was like, "How old do you think this is?" And I'm telling you, it looked just like he had just bought it. It was 11 years old.
Yep.
That tells you what all they put into, because it didn't attract any bugs. It did not smell.
At
It had
all.
not changed the color. There was no mold on it. There was nothing.
I
And it
got
looked
some
the
right
same.
now. It's a Burger King cheeseburger, the fries, and what do you call those things? The chicken,
No nuggets?
the chicken fries,
Tenders? Oh,
the chicken
okay.
fries. I got them all during the pandemic time.
Mhm.
Still got it.
I still got them, not mold on any of them.
Oh my god, man.
On any of them, not mold. The potato, the French fries are dried up like
Mhm.
they're 70-year-old white men,
Mhm.
or like and
Shots fired.
the hamburger, everything, it just looked like it just shrunk a little bit, but it's still the same thing.
From
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Right.
So just imagine
Looks the same.
Put it in your system.
once you put it into your system, if you're not exiting all those things, right, it stays into your system. And that's how you get the disease, right? Because that stays in your stomach or stays in your colon, in your intestines. It doesn't come out. Oh yeah, I'm regular. Yeah, I use the bathroom every 2 days. Like, nah, you should be having regular bowel movement, right? And if not, get a flush. I would say, and if you're having a washout. If you're having any medical problems, the best thing to do is a fruit, vegetable, water reset.
Detox,
right? Where you're only doing fruits, vegetables, water. Okay. And then later on, you could add a protein like a salmon or something like that. No red meat, because you're giving yourself time to be able to regenerate, right? And then what you can do is slowly introduce certain things into your diet, and then you'll see how those things affect you. And then you'll know how to act accordingly to what you keep in your diet and what you don't. A lot of times people think diet is starving yourself. No, it's just really fueling yourself, because you can heal yourself through what you eat.
I think I need to start.
All right. So in closing, AP and I was talking, and he said there's 5 things that you don't ask someone with MS.
You don't ask or say.
Or you don't say? Was it don't say? Or was it don't say?
Is it don't say? 5 things you don't want to say.
What you got?
What is it?
Say? Hold on. I'm gonna tell you. Hold on, because I want to make sure you put those 5 things out there to not offend anyone. I may get a Jewish lady to come up to you next week, though.
There's 5 things not to say to someone with MS.
All right, so 5 things not to say with someone with MS.
Yes.
So give me those 5 things.
Okay. One of the biggest ones would be, I understand what you're going through.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But don't give up. Right? I'm not trying to hear that. And every time somebody said that to me, I test them. I say, oh, really? Can you sit down and don't do anything unless I could tell you how to move? Like, no, you can't. Like, you can't even deal with not having any Wi-Fi for an hour. So, don't
even bother say it.
That's one of the biggest. The second thing that you don't say is, you're just being lazy.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm going to give you an example.
That's being rude.
Because the same way, you see now, they're both moving at the same time. Before, when I was doing it, they weren't, right? But as I keep doing it, one's going to go slower than the other eventually, right? So what would happen sometimes when I would go to physical therapy and I would having a physical therapist working on me, if it was a physical therapist that was not at all versed with MS, they would automatically call me lazy, because it would be, okay, we're going to do leg lifts. We're doing 10. Oh, you only did 3. Come on, you're being lazy. No, I can't anymore, because once you get to that exhausted point,
that's it.
It's like your wire gets so hot, and what happens when the wire gets hot?
Thins out. And
something happens where you're not getting the full connectivity to be able to do what you want to do. Plus, understand, it's the signal that's being disturbed. The signal starts from your brain, so it has to go down your spine to the rest of the parts of your body.
Until it to
yeah.
Number 3.
Man, I don't know these by heart. IT. What?
You got number 3?
I'm thinking of the ones that I you don't look like you're sick.
Number 3. That was number 1.
You don't look like you're sick. Listen, I went to a wake yesterday, and saw someone that I hadn't seen, that hadn't seen me since I was in a wheelchair. And you know what they said to me, man? They said, man, the wheelchair looked better on you.
Whoa.
And it took me back, and I had to think of everything that God put in my body for me not to react in that church, right? But I looked at him like, so you're probably one of the people that were saying to everybody that, oh man, Art's looking really bad, man. You need to give him a call, because that's what it was. I know you heard things like that. Yeah. When I was having cousins call me up and be like, oh, are you really? I can always tell now when I see people what side they were on, because I was on that side also, because I didn't think it was possible at all, because there had never been someone in my situation that I had seen or studied that had gone through the same thing. So yes, so that's 3, right?
No. 3 was oh my gosh, this diet cures MS.
I've heard that too. The diet cures MS. Right.
Or
and that's true to a point. It's true to a point, but there's certain things that you cannot control neurologically.
What's the last one?
The last one?
Yeah, that we up to
or
5.
The 5th one.
Yeah.
Aren't you gluten free?
Gluten.
You should be.
Are you gluten free?
They blame gluten on everything, bro.
You should be.
You know, but those are the most the you don't look sick is probably the biggest. I got that about 4 times today. Just parking in the handicap spot. You don't look sick until I open up my second door and pull my walker out, and they looking like Boo Boo the Fool. Like, you feel better now? Do you feel better that I'm walking with the walker now?
But come on, AP, look at you on the screen. You don't look sick.
What? You know,
Hey, Pete. Hey, treat him to a Burger King after.
man.
This is what you tell him, AP. Hey, for that joke, I'm buying.
No, I'm gonna bring you to rallies for that.
We gotta close. We gotta close, but
It's serious, though.
It's serious. This has no effects, and you said about memory, but brain-wise,
Oh yes, it does.
it has effects on
It
up here.
affects memory, cognitive skills, the ability to multitask. It affects all that.
Well, you have you're a man of knowledge, right, man? It brings you the faith and everything in your sister and your family.
Right.
Brings you to a point where it's all miracle I'm seeing. It does so much to you.
Give thanks.
But look at you now.
Give thanks.
You see what I'm saying? Why am I speaking like this, man?
Because you're feeling something. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
No,
But I receive it.
Yeah.
I receive it because I understand that it's not
It's miracle,
it's not just by chance, right? So I can't really take it for, and that's what snaps me sometimes, right? And I gotta say thanks to John, because sometimes there's people that have to snap you back into reality to be like, yeah, bruh, you're not acting like a regular situation. You were in some bad situations, but you got out of, so for me, as I've gone through it, thankful to go through certain things, right? I don't reflect that much sometimes on that stuff that I don't see how far I've come, if that makes sense, right? So for me, it's like regular for me because I've always been a fighter one way or the other. So I'm just doing what some of the people that know me before were just like, I'll see some people, they're like, yeah, we just knew that it was just a minute till you figured it out. And I'm just thankful, man.
I know you for being that person from way back. So, like I said, this is just something where, again, the platform is very important in the fact that giving the information out to our community is all we're about. We're not really about the numbers. I don't focus on the whole hype about social media, and like I said, we're just trying to touch different people and educate people in our community.
Yeah.
Each one teach one is what we're trying to do here. So the thing with it, like I said, you telling your story tonight was fundamental for me, because again, you and I go way back, and some of this stuff that when we lost contact for a minute, I didn't know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I have other friends that I had a friend of mine, Pat, that had a stroke not too long ago. So I'm gonna pass this information on to him as well to let him know, okay, MRI, go check that, because you mentioned in the stroke situation, and then years afterwards something else. So these are the reason why it's important.
Yeah.
And these are the things why I'm saying nowadays, where in our community, it's unfortunate that platforms like ours, you need more
Diddy
drive and more, right? You know what I'm saying? Because everything is it's just overwhelming with the negative and the trappings.
Yeah.
That when people are feeding you good food, they still want to resort back to fast food.
Yeah.
Fly.
Yeah.
I know you were wrapping up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cannot go on without saying this. There's one person that did actually teach me how to walk again. His name is Jeff Siegel. And when I was having a bad attitude in the hospital and everything, I met a recreational therapist. When they sent me from that rehab hospital to a rider trauma place to work in the spinal cord injury thing, because there was anything to. She said that she had a friend that was in a close situation to me, right? And I had to meet him. So when I got out, I went to my first MS symposium. I met him at a table, said, "Hey, your friend sent me to see you, blah, blah." He's like, "Oh, I used to be in a wheelchair, have some of the same situations as you." But he said, "What do you want to do?" I said, I want to walk again. He said, "Okay, that's easy.
Wow.
You just need to do one thing. Get on the floor and crawl." So I'm looking at this white dude, another Jewish dude, telling me you got to get on the floor and crawl so you can walk. I can be offended by what he's telling me, or
you
take
can humble yourself
the direction and understand that he's giving me direction for something that he knows on what it was. And ever since that day, I started crawling and steadily started walking. So it's once again integral to the individuals you take your information from. Be important and sure who you take your information from, because sometimes we can be taking information from the wrong people.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like the people will pray over your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Careful of who you pray over your life.
So Miss
That's
Bailey,
serious there.
Miss Bailey, in closing, for anyone that may want to seek out your family therapy practice or anything, you have any information you want to give out, any phone numbers for them?
Sure. It's Evolving Therapeutic Services by Bailey. 561-644-9194. And I'm located in West Palm Beach, Florida.
I appreciate that. For everyone out there, you got something else?
I wanted to commend AP for just telling your story. I appreciate it. I learned a lot. Like I said, I have a client that has it. So I really wanted to hear what you had to say so I can be able to relate to
If
what
they need any help,
I'm
here.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I appreciate it
as well.
Yeah, I appreciate it. If John can send me information.
Yeah, I'll send both of you guys each.
Yeah, please, both of them. Because whenever I'm having a session, she may not be having a good day, and I don't always understand, So I appreciate that. And I also like the fact that you were able to come out of your zone and step out of your own feelings and accept criticism or accept whatever feedback from the Jewish lady and also from the guy, because telling you to crawl before you walk could have been offensive. You could have taken that offensively, but I understood the logic behind it because you had to retrain your brain to start all over.
That's all it was.
It would be like an infant. An
Right.
infant has to crawl before they get to those stages. So I understood it,
Exactly.
but you could have taken it offensively and was, that would have thrown you back. So thank you for that.
Thank you
Appreciate that.
for the free sessions that I've had with you for the past. My three
sessions.
three sessions. I appreciate them immensely.
You're welcome. No, we're learning from each other. I told you guys that from the first
Definitely.
day. We're learning. So I
Definitely.
That's what I
appreciate
said.
it. So now Q has to come with something. You got to come with your platform, Q. So you're next.
You're next on the list.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you what Q
I
got.
gotta find that old Jewish lady
I'm
first.
gonna tell you what it is. Q. In closing, if anyone can remember that Dr. Dre video where Dr. Dre said, "Let me go in my closet and see if I got anything to wear."
Oh man.
They were all black shirts. That's cute. How's it make me look? Then you said,
And this tonight. It was a.
it's needed.
It's a testimony.
Yeah, but it's needed.
It's a testimony.
I think a lot of us, so chill for sure. That's family right there. But I think a lot of us do not appreciate or do not fully understand what we have.
Blessings, man.
Huh.
Big Shug, what up? What up, family?
That's a
Denise,
fact.
what's up?
Blessings.
We don't appreciate the fact of
what she says about sickle.
What did she say about the sickle cell trait?
Yeah,
That is
that's
true.
what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I didn't-
that is true. And it's funny because you don't know. Two of my kids have it, but I don't have it. They have the trait.
Wow.
So what the trait does is if they were to procreate with anyone else that has the trait, then their child will have sickle cell.
Will?
Wow.
Chances.
No, they will.
They
Okay.
will. They will.
Okay.
But
That's why you have to try and find out whoever you're
Yeah,
dating.
those are things you have. Those are things you may want to ask, but because I don't know where it comes from.
Right.
From my side, I ask. I don't know if it's from the Caribbean side. I don't know,
Right.
but two of my kids have it, and they
So
just have the trait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna go with a list.
Wow.
No, but you have.
You
I mean,
have-
listen.
yeah,
I
research,
mean,
You may want to ask.
You
That
have
may be
to.
a question that you may want to
if you
ask.
want to go that further into
Mhm.
the relationship, then you have
Yeah.
to. So you're not offending anyone, but you need to know.
Yeah.
Less stress, less mess.
That's like asking for a prenup.
However you want it.
Um,
Hear what AP just said?
Huh?
Hear what he
What
just
is
said?
it?
less stress, less mess.
Yeah.
Yes, I like that.
More vacations.
It's a bumper sticker right there.
Here to take over your vacations because he just came off cruise.
Yeah, I was less stressful.
Hey,
But I think that's what we all have to do moving forward anyway.
Yeah.
or
With
another one would
everything
be
in
I like that, AP.
divorce negative people, places, and things in order to find your multiple strengths in life. And that's a fact.
It's a big bumper sticker.
Right? Well, I make it easier. Divorce PPT,
I like that one.
negative PPT.
Right.
Sorry.
I like that one.
I
I like that
I'm
one.
gonna put it as my truck.
But all right, they're closing out. I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hopefully everyone got some sort of education on MS. And again, if you know someone that is in need, you can get in contact with us. AP is here. We're here to help. Just take better care of yourself. If you see any small red flags for anything, go check it out.
Yeah.
Go and check it out. You know what I mean? Can't hurt to go check it out. So,
Yeah.
and again, like you said, there's multiple different traits, symptoms, different things of that nature. So, you would, after seeing this, I hope this will teach you more in understanding that it could be anything, it could be anyone, it can happen at any time.
Yeah.
Anytime.
At
And-
any time.
Yeah.
So,
and with the courage that AP had to put him right here where he's at tonight,
yeah,
it all takes a lot of courage.
takes a lot.
It takes a lot of courage to be where he's at. So
And a lot of failing.
Yeah,
right? A lot of failing.
Okay.
that's
okay,
part
yeah.
of life.
Gotta fail to
Yeah.
succeed.
The ups and the downs.
But a lot of people failing to stay on that floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to hug the floor every day just so I could like get familiar with the floor. I'm not even joking. Wake up every day, I would hug the floor and greet the floor because I had to do that so I would stop being afraid of the floor, because falling is probably one of the worst things to happen.
But you know what? In closing, because I know you gotta go, but we fail to realize that what you're doing is you actually hugging the earth. Because you know, like for us wearing shoes and things of that nature, we lose a lot of
Connectivity.
right. You understand what I'm saying? So you see how sometimes it's a restart button in God's, and only God knows how he puts things in his own perspective, but sometimes it's a restart. And like you said, you went back to childhood.
Yep.
To restart, to come back into the manhood.
Yep.
And you hugging the floor is not anything negative. It's you just hugging.
He said he starts from creeping back again as a man.
But again, that's what I said. We lost a lot of that. We lost a lot of that in transition.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? We lost a lot of that. So now sometime, unfortunately, it may seem like a negative from that side of the fence, but somehow God, no matter what it is, there's some message and something always in everything that he throws out.
Fact.
Yes, to bring us back.
I like to use the term, but God.
You know.
Yeah, it's a good term.
Yes. He has to bring us back, because you know when we go through that birthing canal,
yes,
we lose all of that. We lose everything that we have intrinsically that he's given us. And so that's what the trials and the tribulations are throughout our life, is to bring us back to that.
Right.
And that's the way I believe it, is to bring us back to that, because we wouldn't have a need for him if we had all the answers and if everything was perfect. So it brings us back. It brings us back to him.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. So I want to thank everyone for joining us. Once again, you can find us on all the platforms, live at the Barbershop every Friday, 9 p.m. Be here or be square. Thank you very much, Miss Bailey. Once again, part of the family now. So anything and anytime you want to join us, just jump in and let us know. If you have a topic, if you have anything you want to discuss, free. Just let us know. Okay.
It's been a pleasure. You let me know, but I am going to text you. I just thought about a topic. I'll text it to you though.
Let me know. Let me know. And I'll
don't forget to send me their info.
Yeah, send the info now.
Definitely.
All right. And shout out to my man Big Shug up in Georgia. Khalil out on the West Coast in Cali, Dr. Johnson, Cali, Arlene, the rest of the family and them out there in California. Katie, for always supporting. Of course.
Brother-in-law's birthday today too. Mark Hill, best caregiver, one supporting my sister. Appreciate you, love you.
Big thing right there. Big thing right there. Well, So Chill, of course. That's family for life. Big supporter all day. All right. So again,
Jess, we miss you.
And we miss Jazz.
Yes, Jess.
Yes.
So if we throw that, when Q throw the next one, we'll get Jess and everyone back on the scene. All right.
Slackness.
So,
okay, Q, you got to come up with your subject. We're waiting.
Yes. All right.
What am I going through now?
No slackness.
Just do what you got to do. Okay. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Once again, like I said, please go out in the world and be somebody. Love yourself. Treat that temple like what God gave you. All right. One love, everyone. Thank you very much.
Go out in the world and be somebody.